Bright sunshiny here in the Seattle area.
September.
I realize how washed out I am. This is great.
September 2025. All right. We all set? All right. Hey, it's Tim.
And Richard.
And we are here for our second, actually, 2B episode. We had a little incident, and that incident was when we got together Monday night and had a very excellent episode that we talked through. I didn't record it. So
the second time's never as good as the first, so this one will suck. And you should have watched the last one, but
it was really good is all I have to say.
It was perfection. It really was.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
So we're going to do our best to recreate that and
go through the same topics.
Yeah, well, our topic today, our prime topic today is company culture, what it is, why it matters, what our experience has been in different company cultures. And then I think over the course of the last week, we came up with an idea that we want to be a running theme in this. So we are very clearly in the age of AI. So what we'd like to do is at the top of each episode, talk about what's the coolest thing that we did during the prior week with AI. So now you really have to reach way back.
All the way back 1 week.
Last week ago. What was the coolest thing that you did with AI?
Okay. And it really wasn't unique, but I found it cool. It was great for me, which was one of my clients is a medical device company making a new technology to measure the fattiness of the liver. And they are going through pilot trials, not right now, not the pivotal trials that you do with the FDA in order to get certified. This is about making sure internally we know exactly how well it's working and being able to tweak dials to get it just right before we enter FDA trials, pivotal trials. And the science just made a pretty decent breakthrough over the last couple of weeks.
The science from the company.
The science from the company. And these pilot trials, the pilot results are great, and they did some tweaking, and it's great. And so they provided me with data, and I asked them to put on one slide, like one slide of all the data, almost like an infographic of all the improvements that were made. It was very scientific, and it was hard for me as a layperson to understand. So I literally took that slide, I put it into ChatGPT, and I said, write me a short press release highlighting the technological advancements that were made in the past week in the pilot. And it did a great job. It still was, and so it literally read the visual slides, because these were essentially PDFs pasted into a slide, a PowerPoint slide. And then that was sent to me, and I just copied and pasted that in. I uploaded that into, in my case, ChatGPT. It analyzed that. It figured out what got better, and then it put it into layperson's terms, what that means, right? So, and kind of why it was important, like what that means to the audience, what that means to a person who's having their liver fat measured, or a doctor who needs to know a patient's liver fat measurements. So the first draft of this press release came out a little bit scientific, so I had to dumb it down even more. And so then I had two versions. I sent those off to the CEO, knowing that he probably wanted to publish these results soon. So that he would have a couple of choices from which to start their next press release. So while I did it for me, I also did it in such a way that I could share it with others, and it worked out great for me.
It's crazy. One of the things that strikes me about that whole experience, and there's the AI ChatGPT side of this for sure, and it's, as you were telling that story, I was just thinking, God, how long is it going to be before we don't go to a doctor? We go and sit in a machine, and it does what it does, and then that gets fed into AI, and and then AI tells us what needs to happen, prescribes something if it needs to be prescribed, or it says we need surgery or whatever. I mean, it feels like in the next few years that's going to be happening.
Yeah, the even this device, it's essentially a wand like an ultrasound wand. And so you put it over the body and making sure you're in the right place and getting the right readings or whatever. So you take like 10 or 12 little, like you push the button 10 or 12, chick, 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 chick.
Tell me it makes that noise.
It makes exactly that noise. Awesome. They actually recorded my voice. So they would go chick, 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 chick every time you click the button. On board the system, it takes those 10, 12 readings. It figures out which ones are more likely than not to be of the liver, and then compares the results of several of those clicks to triangulate down to what is a right answer. So there is absolutely a machine learning component. And I would assume on most of these products where it's complex and the results are made better with multiple data points, that then determining the combination of data points that's best, which data point to disregard and which data point to keep, all those things are happening in the background. It can do kind of diagnostics and lead you to say, oh, this person has X% liver fat. The next step of what to do with that, right now it's required to be a medical practitioner. The FDA won't let a medical device say, go do blank, right?
Yep.
But that's going to change. I can't imagine that.
That's changing. Today. This is September 2025, end of September 2025. So end of September 2028. Let's see.
Absolutely.
I just saw an article today, in fact. Maybe I should be waiting until next week. It's just such a disaster. That said that AI has just gotten a perfect score on the hardest development test in the world.
No. Well, neat.
So it's now better than all the rest of the developers in the world. And that was ChatGPT, by the way.
And available to all of us. I mean, that's the part that's...
Oh, my God.
Right?
Yeah.
We used to have to find the individual that was best in the world. Now that individual is available on my phone.
Crazy. And that's... I'm going to make the point that I started to make 5 minutes ago and then let go. And that is one of the things, and this is for entrepreneurs or young professionals that are watching this, that I believe sets Richard apart, is he is a chief financial officer. And the exercise that he went through, not just the execution of the exercise, but just thinking broadly enough to think, I need an answer to this question for this device and the results. But the CEO might be able to use this from a marketing or commercial perspective as well. Completely different than 99.99% of CFOs think out there. So it is one of the many things that sets Richard apart, and a really good lesson. And so the transition was nice. You said you did all this on your phone, where all this is available on your phone. This last week, I have ChatGPT loaded on my iPhone, and I talk to it. So it's a verbal back and forth, and I'll do that while I'm driving or walking or hiking or whatever. And I'll ask it questions, and it'll respond, and then I can drill in on those questions. It's a very natural conversation at this point. And I had heard that Oracle stock had a big pop a couple days prior, or a day prior, maybe. I didn't know much about it. I learned that the stock pop was caused by a significant report during the quarterly report of new backlog, hundreds of billions of dollars in new backlog and work for Oracle. And then I learned that's related to a deal with OpenAI, and there's several more that are likely to come, and that's what caused Oracle stock. I think it went up 36% in a day. In that day, in a 40-minute span, made Larry Ellison the richest man in the world. His net worth increased $40 billion in that time. So I'm having this conversation with ChatGPT on my phone, and I thought, well, I don't know much about this. So I created, again, just verbally, had ChatGPT take on a persona of a world-class stock market advisor. And so it takes on this persona, and then I gave it an outline of things that I wanted it to go research, synthesize, and come back and give me a summary. So I asked it to go back and look at a whole bunch of data points for the last 2 years, pulling from quarterly reports that Oracle has put in. I wanted to look at the multiple that it's trading at, the velocity of stock being traded, the amount that stock value has increased. What's the revenue? What's the net profit trend? And analyze all these things, and then come back and give me a high, medium, and low recommendation or forecast of what the Oracle stock will do over the next 3 years. And it went out and it did all this and came back 5 minutes later with the most comprehensive, hopefully the most accurate report, exactly what I wanted, exactly how I wanted it, very specific, very concise, just nailed it. In 3 years, I'm going to be really interested to see how accurate the forecast was, the high, medium, or low forecast. But, you think about all the things that AI can displace. Stock advisors, right? Realtors, probably. Developers, already happening at Microsoft. I was at a conference last week for a CRM company called HubSpot. 65% of HubSpot's new code is written by AI today. Microsoft is laying off layers of developers, starting at the lowest layer and replacing that with AI, going to the next layer, laying those people off, replacing it with AI, and they're going to continue through the development ranks. AI is incredibly capable in September 2025. Now imagine what it'll be like in September 2028.
One of the reasons why it's poignant for you saying in September 2025, here's what it's up to, is literally a year ago, 18 months ago, a lot of the things that we're doing with it right now, maybe it was just that we didn't think about it, but it was not capable of doing it. Like the amount of growth it's had just in the last year and a half, 3 years is twice that. So like taking that growth and just projecting that forward 2 more times, 3 years is a blink of an eye. And I can't imagine the acceleration it's going to have.
Yeah, and so I think I'll agree with half of your point. It has gotten incredibly more capable in 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
And that's accelerating at just a mind-bending rate. And people are getting better at using it. Yep. So prompts are better. Information's being shared amongst communities. So prompts are building on prompts. There's prompts to get
good prompts.
Yeah.
Yep, I got one.
So all of this is just compounding and will continue to compound and accelerate. I believe it's like a big snowball rolling downhill.
Yeah.
It amazes me there are still people trying to hide from AI. They think it's not going to impact them. I ran a webinar this morning about this conference that I was at, and it was a sort of a panel discussion, and it turned into an AI discussion that was wrapped in HubSpot. But one of the things that's very clear is AI is going to be everywhere all the time. There is no escaping it. You either get on board and learn to shape it and use it and leverage it and 10x your output, or you're going to get bulldozed. There's no question.
Yeah. And it's happening so rapidly. I think of people using AI and needing to be good at it. The same way cars have to have airbags. There was a time when having airbags made you special.
Yeah.
And now if you don't have airbags, I'm not sure that car is sellable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you're going to have people who are resistant to it now, who are not putting in the airbags, and they're not going to be sellable. They're not going to be employable in a surprisingly short period of time. And I deal with, as a university professor, I deal with a lot of young people that have social issues with it, social or environmental issues with it, and are boycotting its use and are refusing to use it. And while their position is ethically acceptable, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's ethically wrong. I'm saying it's misplaced only in that the only person they're hurting is themselves. Right? They will be the one left behind. And then what are they going to be, Ted Kaczynski or something? Like, so there's that. And second, to shake your fist at the world and, yell into the wind rather than doing something about it. I fundamentally don't understand. I have students tell me that it uses clean water inappropriately, right? It destroys water table. It generates too much heat. It does all these things. Okay, go solve that, because the probability that it's not going to exist is 0. So you can yell at AI and say, I don't like you. And it's like, okay, why don't you like it? I don't like you because you use fresh water. I don't know how that's exactly true, but let's just stipulate that it is true. Then go fix that. Go fix that.
Yeah.
Anyway, just, I don't.
That, so I'm gonna use this next statement as a transition to our next topic. And that is that I have mandated at the company that every single individual, from developers to operations, sales, marketing, the whole deal, absolutely must use AI every single day to further their role and accelerate their role. And beyond that, I've put some specific goals, particularly with our developer organization, who has been surprisingly resistant to AI. I think they see it as a threat.
They're not the only ones.
I expect them to 5x their output in a year.
Okay, 5x, yeah. So I have a number of, most of my clients are technology clients, and yes, it is often, for whatever reason, the technology, software, engineering, whatever, inside those organizations that frankly are the most resistant to its use.
Yeah.
And so I have a number of boards where board members say, the expectation is you're going to get 40% more, or it's going to cost 40% less. I believe we're not far away from that being and instead of or. Your output will be 40% more and it will cost 40% less.
Yeah.
But right now, for whatever reason, across these companies, 40-40 it's either 40 or 40. But 40% is some magical number. So it must have been published somewhere that this was doable. I did sit down and talk with a board member, bigwig in the technology space, and we were discussing the subject. And he said to me, he's now at a VC, he's a partner at a VC, and he said, Richard, I'm keeping my eyes open for the first one-person unicorn.
God.
Right? So a company that can grow to be $1 billion in valuation, that's really just one human. And that mindset of thinking that's possible and keeping your eyes open for it, I'm not betting against him. He's not wrong. Like, that will happen.
Yeah.
And so to think in that concept of how can I create $1 billion company all by myself? Like, that's probably a great thought exercise for teams to go through.
Yeah.
How can we be a one-person department and get everything done, right?
Yeah.
If not the team, then the department leader should say, how could I build a path to get rid of everybody? And it's not about getting rid of everybody, but it's about going through the thought process.
Yeah.
I think that's a healthy way to look at it.
And 5xing output.
Yeah.
Right?
Part of me smiles a little because when I started my career, I was in manufacturing and distribution. That was all my clients were in manufacturing and distribution back at Ernst & Young, way back in the day. And robotics were coming out more and more and more. And it was displacing people on the line. The people on the line were told, this is the wave of the future, just get over it. And now I'm seeing a lot of the white collar workers who at one time would have been those people saying to the blue collar workers, hey, just get over it. And now it's your turn. Yeah. So just get over it. Like we gotta figure this out. We have always gotten back to full employment. We have always, as a country, gotten back to full employment when new technology comes through.
You talked a little bit about your classrooms. Would you be willing to share the expectation around AI that you set with your students?
Oh, sure. So I tell my students on day one, because the university and many universities see the use of AI as almost a form of cheating. That you can use it to do your papers for you. You can use it to do your research for you. You can use it to, and I'm like, great. I remember when the calculator came out and I was told I couldn't use it because I wouldn't learn math. And, it's not like you're going to walk around with a calculator in your pocket everywhere you go. Yes, I walk around with the world's best calculator in my pocket everywhere I go. So they were wrong. And I have to believe that the same is going to be true. And so for AI. And so the universities are wrong. So what I tell all my students, first day of class, I'm looking at each and every one of you as if there's two in your seat. There's the human student, and then there's the digital student in your pocket. And so I'm expecting that level of output. I'm expecting you to team right. I'm expecting really two brains for the price of one. And I do believe that employers are going to look at it the same way. I know that my clients, when they are looking at me, they're not expecting that I am technology dumb. They're hoping I'm technology forward. And isn't that what we should expect of our universities and our students? Is that every single one of them knows exactly how to pair well with technology? Anyway, so that's the expectation.
That's really interesting. I've spoken with other teachers and professors, and the stance that I've heard varies widely. I'm clearly more aligned with yours than any. It's something you're going to use in a professional environment, so you might as well get a jump and start truly using it. All right. So the connection.
That was long.
Yeah, that was long. It was long last time too. So you're getting a real experience. The transition I was going to make was so I've laid down this mandate about AI in my company, and the transition now feels like it's a bit of a stretch, but the transition was to company culture and that setting down a mandate. I don't do it very often. It feels very sort of heavy-handed to me and top-down management kind of thing. And that makes me think of company culture. So I think we should talk about company culture now.
Yeah, if I can mandate, and maybe you don't like the word mandate or something, but I often, when I think about teams, I think of where's, how's, and do's. And I put it in the form of a pyramid because I believe there should be only a few wheres in an organization. Probably just one, but I'm willing to accept that maybe more than one might be. I've been in organizations that were a little bit more square, where there were lots of wheres. Dysfunctional, right? It's not. You get dissonance about where you're going.
define where's, how's, and do's.
Where's, how's, and do's. So where's are your visionaries? How's are generally your strategists? And everyone's got do, works, or tactics. So vision, strategy, tactics, where, how, do. So how do you use it in a sentence? Where, this is where we're going, right? And where we're going is we're going to learn how to use technology in such a way that we can quintuple our output. Right? 5x, right? You said 5x. 5x our output. That to me is a statement of where we're going.
Okay.
Guys, let's get together and decide how we get there. I'm not going to dictate the how, right? Now you're starting to micromanage. If you're like, and this is how you'll do that. And then definitely if it's like, and on Monday you're doing this, and on Tuesday, right? So you get down to the do's of you'll use this form, you'll use this, feature. You always want to use this prompt command. You always now you might as well just replace them. So setting the where, this is where we're going as an organization. We're going to be technology forward. We're going to lean into this new stuff, and we're going to find a way. Our goal is to 5x our output. That's a great where statement. I think you don't cross the line until then you say, okay, I am not open to listening to how we're going to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to dictate to you how you do it.
Right.
And we've been in those organizations too.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah.
So I don't think you've, in my mental model, I don't think you've crossed the line.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. And I don't think I have either.
I don't care.
It does make me think. It did. Like I've been in organizations where it's a top-down organization, and you are told what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. And I am no longer in those organizations because they are just not a good culture fit for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
they allow for no creativity and no
decision making,
right? Yeah.
And no freedom. Yeah. And so company culture and culture fit, one of the things that we got into when we did this in the non-recorded version was we talked about culture fit at companies. And I talked about my role as CEO of Integrate IQ and how when the team is interviewing candidates and I am interviewing candidates, what does that look like? So the subject matter experts that are related to the candidate that we're talking to, they will interview that person and have conversations that are maybe technology related or process related or financial related. Whereas by the time someone gets to me, I am almost, not entirely, but almost, I am 90 to 95% looking for culture fit. I strongly believe that our secret sauce at Integrate is our company culture. We're a fully remote company with staff in Brazil and Costa Rica and spread throughout the United States. And it is the tightest, most cohesive, most aligned team I have ever worked on. And I've been working since 1991. And prior to that, really, but in professional roles since 1991. So it's been a little while. And a lot of that I attribute to company culture fit. And we're not like all the same, but we share the same values. And that drives a behavior where we want to support each other. We feel an obligation to carry our own weight. When someone fucks up, we're comfortable enough to call that out, not in a blaming way, but say, you didn't do this and that's unacceptable. And these 3 people had to pick up after you, and please don't do that again. So it's a very strong sort of self-healing culture that we've developed, and it allows us to go to market and do things and punch way above our weight and get things done that other organizations, like I watch other organizations around, and they have, they need micromanagement because they can't trust each other, and there's all this backbiting, and that adds friction, and we don't have that. there's room within the team and within the company culture to try something, to screw up and learn and share that learning and move on. So it's a huge driver. And by the time I'm talking to somebody, to circle this all the way back around, by the time I'm talking to somebody, I am talking to them about who they are, what they value, how they work in teams, what they want as a human being, what they value. And that's either a fit or not. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about that. And then I'd like to circle back around to how do we validate that, right? So anybody can be on for 30 minutes during an interview or an hour during an interview. We run sequential team interviews, right? So we'll have somebody maybe meet with 4 or 5 people and then meet with me at the end. Less likely that you can hold it together for that 5-hour period or whatever it ends up being. So I'm just ready, go.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not what we do, it's how we do it. Whenever I get in trouble with Brenda, it's not necessarily what I've done, it's how I've done it, it's how I've said it, it's whatever. So whether someone can do the job or not, as you said, that's often a subject matter expert can glean that out pretty quickly, or you make a couple of phone calls to previous employers or people that might know them. Hopefully this person isn't completely unknown to you. But you make a couple of phone calls and you can find out whether the person can do the job. Like they can complete what the job is.
Yeah.
The question is their how aligned with my how, right? You mentioned the values and behaviors. So values and behavior, this is how we act. So I think of it on a how spectrum. Do they fit or do they not fit? Is their how aligned with the how of the rest of the organization and how I intend the organization to be? And so I agree with you that when I make mistakes hiring, it's almost never on the what. Can they do the job or not? It is when I make mistakes, it's almost always on their how is broken. They did not fit. I thought they might fit the culture and they did not fit the culture.
Yeah.
They did not have the values and express those values through behaviors that were aligned with how I wanted people to behave in the organization. So I think it's great. And I see this in a number of organizations where until it gets unwieldy, the CEO will continue to interview all new hires, and really it's about culture fit, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, I long time ago had a chat with a CEO by the name of Bryce Phillips, who is the CEO of Evo. It's a thing about REI. It's an outdoor lifestyle company for all the stuff you need to do skiing and mountain biking and hiking and mountain climbing and all that kind of stuff. And the way he put it was, I asked myself and I asked the team when they're interviewing someone, would you go on vacation with this person?
Yeah, such a great question.
And, intentionally so, not can you stomach going on holiday with them, but would you want to go on vacation with them? Yeah. And as long as the person has the expertise and experience to get the job done, right? That's table stakes. Then it's like, can we get along with this person? Because frankly, especially in young organizations, you're going to see the people you work with more than the people in your family.
Yeah. And in really stressful situations.
And when the water gets shallow, the fish get meat. So you're going to see people at their worst. And how we treat each other when we're in those shallow water situations, that's what's going to dictate whether you move forward or whether you get stuck.
And whether maybe the company makes it or doesn't.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. So how do you, when there's somebody that, say as a performer, right, they do a good job, but they aren't a culture fit, walk me through that. How do you handle that?
Oh, so they've already been hired and
they're hired. Now it's a performance or now there's some issue that's come up. So how do you
they're getting the job done.
Mhm.
but they don't fit.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's the toughest one because they're getting the job done, right? And don't listen to your HR person. No, in a number of organizations, particularly large organizations, pardon me, in particularly large organizations, I have found that sometimes the guidance given by HR is, well, as long as the person's getting their job done, there's nothing you can do. And I think that's crap.
Yeah, agreed.
I think that's 100% crap because how that person is behaving is affecting the rest of the organization, and something is falling apart elsewhere because of that person. So they might get their discrete tasks done, but it's ending up causing waves and flooding other areas in the organization. So, so for me, I make sure that any sort of reviews, one-on-ones, whatever, include the cultural aspects as explicitly as they include the job aspects. And so you get measured on both. And that way I have now the room to say, you're making your sales, you're getting done with your tickets, you're doing your whatever, but yikes, we've got some things to talk about.
Yeah.
I personally feel if you're not getting the job done, you said in this case the person is getting their job done, but if you're not getting the job done, then I have something to do because what's in your way? You're not getting the job. Like, you're great, you fit here well, but you're not getting the job done.
Right.
Then,
so this is a person that is not performing,
but does fit. Yeah.
but does fit.
So that part, as a manager, that's your job. What's in their way? Tips, tools, techniques, roles and responsibilities, communication. Like, what is in their way from performing? In the case you laid out, where the person is performing but they don't fit, I want to. I feel like my responsibility in that is lower because I can't change the person.
Yeah.
Right. They have to change.
Yeah.
They have to change their behavior explicitly. I can. So my responsibility is being sure I'm being clear with them about what a right answer looks like. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, you're not fitting, and here's how you're not fitting. These are our values. These are the behaviors that I want to see. Here's where the gaps are, and it's up to you to close those.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have to worry about tips, tools, techniques, training, roles and responsibilities, communication. Like, this is on you.
Yep.
So I've been clear with you, and just know that the ice is getting thin. And if you can't change the people, you got to change the people.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me sort of bring this performer poor culture fit home with an example that I've seen many times in my career. So I have 35 years of sales and marketing leadership experience. The example I've seen in so many companies is a salesperson that is killing it. They're above quota. They're out just doing a great job. But the wake that they leave with operations or finance,
Product,
because is tremendous, right? So they're hitting their numbers. They're making promises to customers. They're closing deals. But the rest of the organization is sweeping up after them. I've seen this so many times. And so performer, non-fit, don't let me put words in your mouth. Richard's position on that is give them time, not exactly sure what needs to happen, right? Sort of help them along. My position on that is they have to go.
Yeah, my only so I agree that they have to go. I just want to make sure that I've been clear in the first place as to what the gap is. And if I don't see movement quickly, then absolutely. So just because you're hitting your numbers, I can find someone else to hit their numbers.
Yeah, not as easy as it sounds.
It's not as easy. It's not a slam dunk, but the effect on morale that a bad person has, the effect on throughput, productivity, it has real cost in the organization that is generally well outweighed by the good performance in whatever that person's due is. So yes, they made their let's say they exceeded their quota by 10%, and their quota was $1 million. So they did an extra 100 grand. You could easily have $500,000 worth of cost delivering that extra 100 grand. It's not worth it. It is not worth it.
And it's like sand and gears over time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So, okay. Performer, non-fit. I think we're pretty good on this. Let's think about this in 4 quadrants, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the hardest quadrant. I think we did the hardest one.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
So
2 are easy.
Non-performer, non-fit. Put them on a plan, get them out.
Yeah. And figure out how you made that mistake in the first place and correct.
Yeah.
It's a sin for the organization to make mistakes like that.
Fit, non-performer, you talked about a little bit. That's the person you want to nurture and support.
What's in their way?
Give tools. Really try to bring them along. They're probably on a medium leash, I would say, in my organizations, where you want them to be successful.
Yeah, either something's in your way. Let's say it's you, Tim. You're not performing, but you're great. You are clearly living our values, and I'm seeing in you the behaviors I want. But we're not getting the job done. So one of 2 things is true. I actually misjudged your fit, and in that case, you are no fit, no good,
Gone.
And you're gone, right? So yes, the person's on a relatively short leash, but I'm thinking internally, have I judged the person right? And externally, what's in your way? Because if you do fit, you have everything it takes to be successful here. You're not being successful here. So why? What's in your way? How do I remove that? Yeah. Those are the only 2 possibilities that I can see. Is I've either misjudged you or something's in your way.
Yeah. 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 I think that's no notes. There's 1 quadrant left.
1 quadrant, yes.
And I actually have something to say, and you guys know what the quadrant is, I would imagine, and you've been wondering, how do we handle that person? So this is the great fit, great performer.
Yeah.
What do you do with that person?
So first and foremost, it is a sin for the organization to lose that person, right? So I'm old school Catholic. So I think in those terms of, like, we have something is broken with us if that person doesn't want to stay around, right? So keep that in mind, that's on me now if something blows up with that. Shower them with money and praise and do a hat dance around them every Cinco de Mayo. Like, that's kind of find a way to put them on a path to help manage and mentor others, right? Give them a real career path. Find out ways and talk to them explicitly about their performance and fit, and like, how do we find other people like you? Players hire A players, B players hire C players. You find an A player, leverage that, right? Who do you know? Who are your friends? They hang out with the people they hang out with and want to work with are like them.
Yeah. Yep. We so far we have only hired referrals. So that's it, and it's that thought that good people know good people.
Good people know good people. And good people have choice.
Yeah.
Right? That's the other thing to know is, you have someone awesome. You may not think you're in a competition. You are absolutely in a competition because great people have choice, which is why in an interview process, I spend less of my time talking about what they need to do and more talking about how they need to do it. Because if they're talking to me, they're probably good, right? And good people have choice. So I can be often pretty explicit with them about, hey, the reason why we're talking, it's about culture fit. I don't have the time to make a mistake, and that's painful and ugly and is costly and whatever. You don't have time. You don't want to be looking for another job in 6 months. This has got to be painful and ugly for you too. So let's talk explicitly about what you like, what you dislike, how you work with others, how you deal with conflict. What do you agree with and disagree with on your values? How you would say your own values? What are the behaviors you like best in other people? Tell me about your friends that you like to work with, and what is it cool about them? Because that's often an expression of what they at least want to be true about themselves. This is where we're going to spend our time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds more like or it feels more like a conversation than it does an interview at that point.
And let's shake hands at the end. And if you're like, dude, that I can't deal with, great.
Yeah.
It's good to know now.
Perfect.
It's good to know now.
Yeah, you just saved us a lot of pain.
Both of us.
Yeah.
Right. And I think to your point, people hold it together for a few hours during an interview, and that's if they're trying to sell themselves or want the job really badly. And so they're putting on a persona, right? They're putting on an outfit to try to give you the impression that outfit fits when in fact it doesn't fit. And man, if you get any sort of inkling of that, that's a sign that the person doesn't have a lot of choice or swagger or whatever. And so therefore, maybe they ain't such an A player, right?
Yeah. Really good insight. This conversation around company culture and how to identify those players, how to interview, how to manage them when they're in, particularly this quadrant piece, I think is really valuable. So thank you, as always, for your thoughts and
bright sunshiny here in the Seattle area.
September.
I realize how washed out I am. This is great.
September 2025. We're learning. We're learning a lot. It's episode 2, and we will take care of lighting, and we will remember to hit the record button.
Yeah. And so, Tim, question: will these, as they're posted, have the ability to comment on it?
Sure.
Yeah. So I invite you then, whomever is watching, to comment on where you agree and disagree. I'm always intrigued by people's new thoughts. So where it comes to either the AI discussion, what was something cool you did this week, or an example of something intriguing? And then secondly, when it comes to culture, like what hot points did you hear? What other ideas do you have to find a person that fits perfectly?
I have to do it.
Yeah.
If you're a technology person or someone that is interested in technology and you feel like you might be a good culture fit, comment too. We're always looking for new people. All right. Thank you. We'll see you Monday.